Don't mind my blue finger, guys. Caught it at work, but welcome back. We're going to be going over some pretty important technical updates going in to the weekday. This is going to be my Sunday video. I'll make more videos tomorrow, but it'll be very important for you guys to see what is going on going into the week, what to expect, right? So I wanted to start with Neo. We'll go into AMC, we'll go into GME, and then we'll finish with a surprise. So if you guys are interested for the surprise, it is an absolute banger play that very few are talking about right now, but is justified to be talked about. So let's go into Neo stock, guys. How are we feeling on Neo? If I could type. Neo is an absolute just bully right now. Squeezing, going insane. If you can see on after hours price, you're actually up 5% in the after hours, which is absurd because you've gapped up every single day of the last 3 trading days. So you can see, you can see now that Neo is going for that $7 target. It is just that simple, guys. I would not expect any steam to be taken off of this thing until you reach that $7 price target. When you do, you could expect to be rejected there. You could expect a rejection right around $7. So we're just going to have to wait and find out. But Neo looks absolutely disgusting. If you've been with us, you know the chart has been in a turnaround story. It really has been. I mean, if you zoom all the way out here, you can see during the 2020 squeeze, you went up from $2 all the way up to $66. And what was that time frame? In about 10 months, you moved almost in 100x, right? That's absurd. And so Neo is not shy to these very, very volatile moves. And it looks like you're getting something very similar, right? $3 into $3.30 into a bull flag that we called back here. Thought you could break out here. You went for one more retest of the 200-day EMA. And so now you're actually squeezing into the price target that we had on Neo, which if you take the price target would take you up to that $7 to $7.20 price target, to where we then thought you could trade into another flag until you hit this price uptrend. And then you really talk about targets, right? Because you can get up to $10. Above $10, you have a gap at $24. And as you begin to break out of this falling channel, you can expect that this thing is going to continue to snowball and snowball and snowball until it crashes really hard, or until some kind of fundamental news comes out, like a share offering that could change this company's direction. It really can. So we're going to have to wait and see on Neo. End of story, right? Let's see. Quarterly MACD is probably one of the most exciting things on this chart, because you can see the last time you got a curl up was the beginning of this move, right? That was 177%. When you got the cross, though, you went up the next 2 quarters, 174 and then 129. So not only did it call the bullish momentum change, right? It changed the bullish momentum, but once it crossed, it actually indicated further movement to the upside in a very squeezy manner. That's 3 quarters up almost 6,000%, right? So Neo looks disgusting, to be honest. I mean, it does. AMC. Now, this is a lot closer than I even remember it being. And it looks like you printed your second quarterly candle, if I'm not mistaken. Am I crazy? Is that a candle? Am I tripping? I'm tripping, man. That is our draw up on the daily channel. Okay. So you're within this double bottom formation on AMC. You're also within this wedge while you're getting the cross up on the quarterly MACD. You saw what Neo looked like back here. It hasn't even gotten the cross and it got its breakout. AMC has yet to get its breakout, and you could very well see something explosive like Neo. You just need volume on this stock, and you need GameStop to do something crazy, and you will see this cross for the first time since 2020. I cannot specify enough of how bullish that would look for AMC stock, as last time you got a cross in 2020, you went up 381%, followed by 455%. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get similar gains there. Nothing is financial advice, but if you took a target here and you just played the gap fills, right, that we have been targeting, you'd look at 254% on the previous all-time low. You've got 375%. There we go. 375% on the first gap fill, which is around $13, 550% on the second gap fill, and then on the third gap fill, which is hopium. This one is on the weekly time frame, though, just to specify with you guys. Typically, weekly time frame gap fills will fill eventually with enough bullish momentum. And if you can get this double bottom, that complete move would be up to $43. 1,318. So just to specify for you guys, this was a 3,700% move. The January squeeze, though, wasn't even 1,000. So you have the opportunity to do something really cool on AMC. If you see this broader meme basket begin to turn around here and begin to get squeezy, and I think that there's a high likelihood that you could see this happen. Oh my God, I can't grab this thing. Thank you. I think there's a high likelihood that you can see something like this happen if you can kind of mimic what Neo's doing. So now we're in the monthly, we start in the quarterly. If you can mimic what Neo is doing, right? Neo on the monthly time frame. Bollinger Bands. Now, stat. Neo on the monthly time frame is absolutely squeezy on the monthly Bollinger Bands. You can see here that we were talking about it during the midband. If you can mount the midband and then get to the top band, that band will begin to expand. And in case you don't know what the Bollinger Bands are, they are an indicator that indicates long spells of sideways price action, right? So you can see that Neo just traded down and to the right for 5 years almost, right? But now you have a momentum flip. And you've gained the mid-band for the first time since you started that trading sideways price action, right? And those bands are so coiled that the difference between the top band and the bottom band was only $3. And so that move, boom, you went from the bottom to the top. Make it drop. No, I'm just kidding. But you mounted that mid-band and you closed a monthly quarter or monthly candle above it. This close is going to be huge. Because if you can close above it, this band will begin to expand, which will allow for venues higher. And that's very similar to what you're looking for in AMC here, because you're so pinned on AMC that this move, tightest it's ever been on the monthly Bollinger Bands, this move is going to be very explosive. It's going to be. You could see boom, pop, Thanos snap up to $5. And then the game is you gotta close above this mid band right here at 3.9. So maybe you bump up, you test it, and then you close above this, and then price expands into these gap fills. But it looks really, really good, guys. We talked about the monthly Bollinger Bands being the kind of the key to unlock the chain that is the stock, right? You want to take off the shackles. And it's retribution time, guys. It really is. I mean, you're going to see this thing do something that you have not seen it do since back here. And every single long-term indicator is pointing that way. You have IWM as well, the index that small cap stocks are in, risk on assets are in, about to make a serious move, in my opinion. You have GameStop about to make a serious move, in my opinion, and smaller cap stocks like AMC, like Open, like Neo are about to follow with. So let's get into GameStop. GameStop will be a short one just because we know where we're at with GameStop. We are in the pinnacle of this wedge. We are in the absolute thick of it in this wedge. And what we talked about on GameStop is you bounced off of the 200-day EMA on the weekly. That's what you wanted to do. That was crucial. And it's happened every single time you wick off of it. You wick off of it. You wick off of it, right? And so now that is crucial support going into the pinnacle of this pennant. Meanwhile, your weekly MACD is crossing up on GameStop, which is significantly bullish because if you see every single one of these runs, it was going into earnings. Every single one you can see. I could paint that a little bit better on TradingView, but this was into earnings, this was into earnings, this was into earnings. This one was into earnings and then got capitulated. And we are now in the pinnacle of this wedge going into earnings while your weekly MACD is about to cross up. I could not pound my fist on the table any longer. It is just absurd how coiled this thing is. And you can go to the daily Bollinger Bands because this is where, for me, my conviction begins, right? Because you got a close above the daily Bollinger Bands. And they are the tightest they have been since IPO, guys. Since IPO, $1. $1 is the difference between the top and the bottom Bollinger Band. And the mid and the upper is 50 cents, guys. I mean, what are we playing around with? This thing's going to make a stupid move with gap fills above it at $29, $30, and then the all holy, the very, very important gap up at $73 that you made back during the 2021 squeeze. You didn't fill it here, so now I anticipate you'd make a higher high, that you would log a higher high here and fill that gap from this bull pennant. Because in case you don't know, bull pennants are one of the most bullish continuation patterns. And that would be your move right there. Potentially, right? And if that happened, I mean, there's no saying where AMC would be. So that's what gets me very, very bullish. That's what gets me convicted on this play and the fundamentals. I mean, $10 billion in cash and risk on assets. They own 500 million Bitcoin, and then they have like 9.5 million or billion dollars in cash, right? So this is not done here. If it breaks, you can look for support around $19 on the all holy trend line for GameStop. In case I haven't covered that for you guys, you bounced it here, you bounced it here, led to the squeeze. You bounced it here, you potentially bounce it here, and that would lead to a monster squeeze and one of the best buying opportunities of our lifetime on GameStop. So now we're in the weekly time frame. You need this to cross, you need this to go up, you need these gaps to fill. That's GameStop. Earnings in 2 weeks, guys. Earnings here. Literally in the pinnacle of this wedge. So if you keep trading, goodbye. It's over. So we covered Neo, we covered AMC. Let's cover one last stock that I have been pounding my fist on the table about. Not to you guys, but to my friends and the traders that I have begun to associate with. This is Intel. Intel Corporation is a long-term hold for me. Formed this falling wedge within a broadening descending wedge, to which I believe this stock could go to $42 within the next 3 months. or $38 in the next 3 months, right? This stock, in case you guys are unaware, just got 10% of its float bought by the U.S. government. And so they deal with chips. The U.S. government is looking for a company that is sourced from America, that has factories in America that can source chips for us. Because NVIDIA, as wonderful as NVIDIA is, they are one of the best companies in the entire world, the most profitable company in the entire world. They do their business in China too. They do their business in India. They have dirty laundry, right? So even down here, U.S. government will acquire a stake in Intel after a meeting between CEO and President Trump. So what gets me so excited about this stock that you guys may not be aware of, and what made me buy this stock a day before the U.S. government started accumulating shares, was the bullish hidden divergence on the RSI on the monthly time frame. So very similar to how AMC's Bollinger Bands being on the monthly time frame mean a huge thing. That is tremendously big, because usually monthly time frame will indicate a larger scale move and more volatility should be implied, right? You have sharp bullish divergence on the monthly. You can see you made a lower low here and then a higher low here on the RSI, while price was making a lower low in price. Look at that, guys. Higher low, lower low. And so that is what they call bullish divergence. I literally bought this stock Friday morning, and they announced that the government is buying 10% of the float. You can't make that up. That's hilarious. But the reason I bought it was because I saw this, and that was enough for me to stake a long position. I mean, you look at this thing. You look at this stock, right? This stock's chart goes all the way back to 1974. That's before, I'm sure, most of you watching this were born. And what has it done? This stock has gone up and to the right pretty much entirely. So when I saw a couple things, right? I saw that this long-term macro trend line that you formed back in 86 was being tested right now and held multiple times, held, and that you were forming monthly bullish divergence on the RSI and getting above the mid band and retesting and going on the mid band of the RSI. All are good things. And so what you're looking for Intel, which is up approximately, I think it's like 5% in after hours or overnight trading. It hit 26 in overnight trading. You're looking for continuation out of this wedge. Because if you break this wedge, guys, let's look for this technical confluence here. If you break this wedge, there's a high possibility you're going to 47 in a hurry. So not financial advice, guys. Do not listen or act on what I say or do. I am just a retail trader covering stocks that I am very passionate about. And I appreciate each and every single one of you, because our subscriber count has been absolutely rocket shipping. It has been on a mission to the stratosphere, and I appreciate all the love and the comments I'm getting in the comment section. Besides for the bots, that starts to come in as soon as you're getting like 500 views per video. But we started with a very small channel just a month ago, and we've grown exponentially, 180 subscribers. So if you guys are still listening to this and you appreciate me, I would appreciate if you would slap that like button and slack that sub button, baby, because I plan to be here every single day throughout this bull market, and then we'll see where it goes during the bear market, guys. We'll see where we stand. So I love you guys. Tune in tomorrow. I'm going to do a video probably tomorrow morning or after market, and I'd like to see where we go, see how our TA plays out going into tomorrow, because this is a very, very big week. Very, very big week. And we have a span of big weeks until September 16th, because that's when the Fed gives us the green light or the red light on whether they're going to cut rates. So stay tuned, guys. Stay bullish. That's all I got. Peace out. God bless.